na Bawumia person obeye president she say we vice president ye VP no na afi no pese Ghana for to abama na ankasa na obeye president edema o my Ghana na Bawumia na niswade hu no pese Ghana for te na omugina so de to aba edema ono Bawumia no odi akwa akotudwa na akofa asem kese ede aba Ghana ho a enya asem keto obi say Ekuonaba asem kese ben na akofa ede aba Ghana a wo kan ye die nim asem kuri Bawumia ede nsem ahodo ekotutudwa ebra wo ye ne campaign na ade a opeso wo ye de boa o my Ghana okogina ye simpie so na okodi nkomo se ode to Ghana fo ade hye anim se oba bweni we no betimi aye na ade ne de na okobo so a akofa asem de aba. Number 1 Bawumia ekasa ewie ye no na wa oni tuase social media de da system yusu no enya de nkofo every nsem ahodo a wakeka wo se Levy no I mean obetwam na ono akra na mse no wonka board no ho sade de nsem bi me mebo yudi na moti ni nyina ena nkofo akotwe April 14 2024 ede aba se kwadwo opon nkroma information minister libetu dwa se Bawumia was instrumental in drafting Levy tax na se April 14 2022 no na Bawumia edi emu atentemban se Levy no on the church ho nsem nyina eno mo de saf article beto abonten se papa na wo se onka ho no betwa 11 mu no na church wo sa asem de to abonten ebebo ensem ahodo amamotie e wo page we so adekonti amempe politics ne se won se me no meka se me ye politics a evidence am begu abonten no aya na no wadin because me nya time esechi enioma mebiri because nkofo mo me page so yi eye titiri pa o nya nkora dabi etitiri pa na wo page we so enti se me kofa asem de aba beto page we so na asem kura me kwa kofa beto page we so me ni ho eye evidence a mabu omo animtia omo so yempanyfo pa enti bibia meka wo page we so bia me make sure say me wo ho evidence and sakwa na ma publish ato abonten enti before me ye politics no I don't know ebi agi say bia mama babs ne Ekuonaba one black soul mo ne charity mo bam na mo ne me kasa na me hwe because me pese me enter because me enter politics a evidence am hwehwe agu na hwe bia mbatian se yatimiti atofom ko me de beto se bam me kan se de tie my say papa honorable Kennedy o ya bo so we scarcely minti no ono ka kra na ko ye ya obetima atwatwa age mitimi ni kapre so ono so ni asem no so eti o kasa se Levy oba obetwam no ene nkofo se papa we pa agro wona ni so ana Levy mu ka ho bi ne draft ye 2022 April ana asemi kwadwo opon kroma de beto abonte e de na o ka se oba obetwam okay yentoa eye normal ahodo so oba obeye so oku anim kakra wasanso e de aba beto dja say taxes on gambling will be scrapped under my administration we say eye chacha tax da chacha so no ono no betena so as president na obetwitwa ni nyina mu e de afiri ebo ne de ye hyebo kwa no nti waka we so say oba obeye e de afiri ho ofiri ho ade ebim no so obeye we say many Kaya's don't use headpan now because of digitalization. Nese Kayo yankofo omo swa ne oma wo mutiri so e wo market. Sa nkofo kuo se ya ye kase no. Omo use pan no e wo mutiri so biem. Edi enti a wo se digitalization am say na sa digitalization e dangerous o. Kayo fo nso pan wo mapampam. Na sa no omo ye den no omo ton ne oma I don't know wono na e kan. Minim how a digitalization no ema kaya yefo a omoso no ma wo mapampam no atima asesa no ebi obechirichirim e wo no ankasa ne nkasa emu so dia ene na etoje omo ankasa uku anim kakra so say there will be no emissions law under my administration. There will be no emissions law under my administration. E bone de Bawumia shepa wodi o hyeko o hyebo ene o gina simpie so a omo hyebo connect wo no so hye bia say one kasa tiri ho yi wo bone o say I will eliminate VAT on electricity by 2015 if it's still on our books. Okay, it's still on our books. Okay, was it 2015 no VAT obeyi free electricity so 2015 obeyi 2025 sorry 2025 obeyi e free so na eda so if it's still on our books said that's what we books mu a ono obeyi e free so wo hyebo no kwa anesa na ne bo hye na akofa asam de aba ntia memu hunu bo no wo say I will abolish Levy, bed tax and emissions tax as president. Bawumia declares na say oba betena so a Levy ne bed chacha ne say obetiti obeyi ni nyina free ho to obeye president a obeyi ni nyina e de free ho eno na nkofo bi ewo questions o mbusa papa yi wo say I was thankful. Ti asemo obeka wa hani you. Say we na kofa asem kaka kan nyina e de buy. Ma me to me bona me kan de yipa. Me to me bo kan. We say I was thankful appointed as chairman of the economic management team. As a subcommittee to cabinet, we do not have any decisions-making powers, but I am very proud of the quality of advice we have been providing over the years to cabinet. Eti also one dey ya appointed so we chairman bi oda EMT bia no. Na ho odin a obetimi dey ahye mmara kaka nsam ne powers ekurukura no. Wo form kakra. Enti ono de ne de na nanu so je na otu ne ho se quality ade emu oduo ho emfutu ode mankofo yi cabinet yi no over the years ni nyina nani eje ho pa okogina simpie so nsem okekan ni bi na jameke kan de akire wi ofiri ho de twato okura ana me de soso de amamu o se de twato yi ya asemo the simpie no de onya kogina so de abehebo o se the depreciation of the cedi under our government is lower than what we inherited. Necessity a depreciation yankofo ka ho asem na cedi ho anhwan na den no o say ono under the government no e wo form snade o mo ba beto ye Bawumia nsem wo de atodwa eno no na we na ye papa Bawumia kasa wie ye no yankoni enkotie na no ankasa asem tenkro potin akoka ye kofa we nyina de bae no owura Bawumia ankasa kasa yenkotie asem a owura Bawumia kan ya na wia na me de nsem ahodo enkofo aka fa ne nsem hu no obetim de comment aba me hu se comment section why ye hyepa manfo comment brutal me hu bibia yenkotie nsem a owura Bawumia kan mbrese.
The new policies that I am proposing to implement in 2025 will give us the fiscal space to eliminate some taxes such as the proposed VAT on electricity, if they are still on the books, the emissions tax, and the betting tax without compromising our fiscal deficit. We have put in place the necessary infrastructure for Ghana to go cashless. Recently, the Bank of Ghana has completed a pilot of a digital version of the Ghana cedi in Seshwiwioso. This is known as the Central Bank Digital Currency, or the e-cedi. The e-cedi is designed to work online and offline and will be launched by the Bank of Ghana in due course. In my humble opinion, the e-cedi with appropriate privacy protections will be the ultimate weapon in our fight against corruption because it will provide transparency, reduce the risk of fraud, robbery, tax avoidance, and money laundering, since it will be easy to track the movement of money and identify suspicious activity. The e-cedi will quicken the pace of Ghana's move towards a cashless or near cashless society. Ladies and gentlemen, to move towards a cashless economy, however, we have to encourage the population to use electronic channels of payment. To accomplish this, under my administration, there will be no taxes on digital payments. The e-levy will therefore be abolished.
Bawumia nsem wo kan ye VP Vice President nsem wo kan ye ni. Na we no kasa wie ye ni nyina no. Ana nkofo o mo so eye Ghana de hye papa, ye ma wo nkasa na wo nkoktra sa akwa. Ebi ni hwan Abrante efeni Kevin Taylor wonu tuaso no papa mu osu ni mu obundada elo start yi papa hu nsem na wo kan asesei anu abeka asesei ana aka asesei anu abeka asesei ene wa wonu tua ono o kan so de anu den ni anu ya abesa afra san asem no kra utim se na asem wo kan mu de pawo obeka kra sa asem no Kevin Taylor efa phone ana se camera si na ni mu odi nkomo no ene wo se papa wo na wo se obeyi e-levy any bed tax any emissions tax as president no ene maye ni nkomo wa ha ene wo se wo na aka we 2022 ana yesi den na afiri wa babontin be ka se di akire yenkotie nsem a Kevin Taylor onu tuo no obo mo dada onu so di tu
levy bae or say I will abolish e-levy, bet tax and emission tax as president or say a tumana Tiabia Mahmoud Bawumia said ye jimi nti antuma no ye tuma na o ka asem ya kire ye nhwese ne mfa ntuma no o se oba e-levy no ankasa e de ba ye no o se oba abolish ye te ha ne enim e-levy bia me ne wo ne wa wo te santase a wudi matam wa wo te kwabere a wudi matam wa wo te bekwa a wudi matam onti e-levy da ye te na Bawumia ma kofa e-levy ba ye se e-levy ni de ene be solve your problem nyina wa sada no ho ka che se Ekuonaba jimi ene okofa e-levy ba ye no ne de oba obetwa e-levy nim yatia ne enim bibia fa tax bet tax ana bet tax ne enim na boy sikwa no makotwa mo bet na magye sika tax da so motua wie dada yes tax foforo bia ba mo na mokofa e Bawumia te cabinet na o sign na ogitu mu o se o Ekuonaba ejimi on de ba nti ono ba obetwam uji Bawumia di o se o inwusie tax ya ba na nsen ya emission tax ye ko discuss na cabinet o not wo bi e na ode nsa sha ase oba o se o motuma na obetwam odwe se mo ejimi Sanfe mu te politics na se Mahmudu Bawumia time e passi e-levy mate se MPP4 kan semi Bawumia na e-levy non support hwade wa ha yeah the fact ni nyina kiremo. This is the information minister of Ghana. His name is Kojo Oponkruma ye passi e-levy no dia na obeka ye we na ye aban dia ano one ne kasama aban eko cabinet meeting or team or say Bawumia was instrumental in drafting e-levy tax. Kojo Oponkruma ye nyom ko cabinet meeting ni on the wo kasama aban no oba bonti be ka kire say Mahmudu Bawumia vice president no ye draft policy e-levy abeje taxes we ho no ono na draft ye e de na Bawumia be ka kire say Ekuonaba ejimi or the e-levy aba ono oba obetwam Bawumia to solve a problem.
Kevin Taylor nsem wo de tu dwa eni na Kevin Taylor wie ne nsem wo keke nyina no na menim se nka to atwa nka Ghana fo egbo metwa mapai kakra na nka asem de na asem ko ye hu ya se kwasi prata te asim kwasi prata so so kasaboko no Bawumia me I know Bawumia for a while long na kasaboko no bo japa na kwasi prata de nsem aba betoto ho abechirechiri nsem mu ankasa kire Ghana fo se papa we wakasa ye nkwara na awodi adwene bedi agoro untimi mfa ya adwene ni agoro sa kwasi prata na kasa yo wo so untimi mfa o ma adwene ni agoro untimi nkotutu aboa ho mekirem sa aboa beni enya de wono kwasi prata wo te asi na onim politics munim sema ekosu no beti ase da yenko tie nsema owura kwasi prata enso kaye ebro te se oso obetwa e-levy ni mu na no ka team no ho no ntimi nhye mra ena ono advice no koma ene ade no yenko tie nsema kwasi prata
No, that the sitting president is somebody that I've known for some time. In fact, I think that I can risk calling him my friend. And I don't like what is being done to him at all. By his own party people. By people around his own vice president and so on. When anything goes wrong, Bawumia then becomes an assistant headmistress. He becomes an aplanke. Then he emphasizes the fact that he's a vice president and not the president. When something goes right, he's the first to claim it. Why are you doing this to Nana Akufo-Addo? What has Nana Akufo-Addo done to you people? This man has led your party and government for 8 years and is about to retire. And all of a sudden, we are all running away from him like a plague. I pity him. I wonder what will happen to him when he's left the presidency. Because even when he's sitting on the seat as president, look at what his people are doing to him. It's most unfortunate, and to a very large extent, I think it is irresponsible to heap all the blame on Nana Akufo-Addo for everybody else to take cover. Now listen to me, my brother. Let's take the Aplanke example. Okay. You are an Aplanke on a trotro bus, which is going to Nsawam. Okay? When the bus gets to Caprice Junction, the driver gets down and takes a bottle of hypertension. And the driver comes staggering into the car. Of course, if you're a good Aplanke, you should know that the possibility of all of you on the bus dying before you get to Nsawam is very high. If this Aplanke sits on the bus, does not complain, does not do anything about the circumstances, and the car crashes at Ufanko Junction, what kind of Aplanke is that? Would you give your car to that Aplanke to drive? So this aplanke business, drop it. Let us assume that what is being said about Vice President Bawumia is true. That he was only a vice president, he was not in the driving seat. As Benton says, he was sidelined. Let us assume that it is true. Okay. Now, let us also take into account the fact that if everything went well, he would not be running away from some of the policies and actions that they have taken. He would have claimed credit, you understand? It is only because some things did not go well that he's docking, you understand? Now, so, and as Benton himself says that, look, the Akufo-Addo administration, the Mahama administration all failed. That is his assessment. Okay. Now, if you have a vice president for 7 years who has been sidelined and things are happening recklessly, okay, and things are not going well and so on, and he continues to sit down as vice president, does not resign, does not protest and so on, would you entrust the destiny of the country into the hands of a vice president who simply doesn't care when things are going wrong? This is just common sense and logic. And you do know that I'm not interested in insulting anybody.
Exactly.
But if you have a vice president for 7 years, he has been sidelined. He comes up with policies which are to be implemented by ministers. The ministers don't do it. What he says, nobody takes, and so on. And he comfortably sits there for 7 years, waiting for 8 years to come, so that we can get rid of his president, for him to become president. Is that a good vice president? Tell me. Is that a good vice president that he sat down in all of this? He was sidelined. He gave directions which were ignored and so on for 7 years, in fact, more than 7 years. And then in the end, he turns around and says, yes, I knew things were bad. I could have done something about it. I was sidelined, and I stayed there quietly. I refused to resign. Make me the president, and I'll do wonders. Incredible. Put that aside too, my brother. Put that aside. And listen, very, very carefully. Look, and my brother Titus, I can't blame him. In fact, I couldn't have expected something else from him. This claim that...
My name is Titus Glover.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my brother Titus Glover. My very good brother. He's been my friend for many years, you understand. But listen, he says that when Bawumia's name is mentioned, people panic. Is that true? I've checked all the posters, and I'm sure you have checked. As for him, I cannot assume that he has checked if he thinks that everybody is afraid of Bawumia. He obviously hasn't checked. You understand? But check all the posters, including those who predicted victory for the new patriotic party in the 2020 elections. Foreign and local. Check. The highest rating Bawumia has gotten from polling is around 38% of total votes. If I lie, tell me. The highest. Some place him as low as 28%.
Which election are you talking about?
The 2024 elections. If you like, Google Global Info Analytics, which I think is the most credible from my own study of their work, so I think it's the most credible. Google it right now and see the ratings. So how come? Yeah, how come that in the face of these ratings, anybody will panic at the mention of Bawumia? I can't understand. Maybe I'm daft, but I can't understand it. There's no panic. In fact, I will tell you from conversations that I'm having with people around the political circles and inside the political circles, I can tell you for sure that opponents of Bawumia are so very happy that he is the one who was elected as your flag bearer. It's somebody else had been elected, I'm sure that there would have been some panic, reasonable panic and so on. By him, they are so very happy that it is him that they are going to contest with. Okay. Now, for those who want to understand the status of His Excellency, Dr. Alhaji Mahmood Bawumia, I do not refer them to the NDC, I do not refer them to newspapers and so on. I refer them to his own web page. Master, open his web page. See how he has described himself on his own web page. If you read his web page, he clearly claims that he is in charge of the management of the economy. He's in charge of policy formulation as far as the economy is concerned. He's in charge of the management of the economy. He claims to be in the driving seat of national policy formulation and implementation. Go to his webpage. It's there. Now, how can you describe yourself in those terms on your own webpage, turn around and now look into your face and say, I was only an apprentice, I was not the headmistress, I was the assistant headmistress, and so on. How can you do that? Which is true. What is on your webpage, or what you are telling us, through other means and so on. So, look, we should be clear in our minds. In fact, it is not for us even to be clear in our minds. Dr. Bawumia should be clear in his mind whether he's an apprentice or the driver. He cannot be the driver in the morning, an apprentice in the afternoon, and in the evening, a passenger. He has to define for himself what he is. And from all the statements that have been made by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo at least was honest in many respects. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo looked us in the face, the Ghanaian people in the face, and said, look, I'm a lawyer. I think that I know the law. I've been involved in this country's politics for some time and so on. But I need special skills to manage the economy. And from inference, he was telling us that he didn't have the skills to manage the economy. And so it is for this reason that I have chosen His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmood Bawumia as my vice president. His sole responsibility is to manage the economy. His sole responsibility is to move us forward. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo said these things publicly. He didn't hide them. So clearly, his only mandate was the management of the national economy. And he told us that he was in charge. In many ways, he told us that he was in charge. Why are they claiming now, and he claiming now that he's not in charge? What has happened? Did the car hit a ditch at Ofankor Junction? The car he's driving, did it hit a ditch at Ofankor Junction? What is happening? My brother, look, we may not hold doctorates in economics. We may not be vice president and vice presidential candidates elect and so on. But master, all of us have some gumption. At least we can understand simple English. We all have some gumption, we can understand simple English. Let nobody play with us. Because we will not allow that to happen. Nobody can play with us. You understand?
Ura Kwasi Pratt in some kind do change any. Na Kwasi Pratt kasa wie no. Ana eja enkofo ahodo so medinka kache ze Ghana simtene ya Ghana for bekasa. Vim lady enso etenase. Eno se menso man kire ma adwene dia na kame ye kokon okora. Na ntinso wo style programs ewo eye stream yard na won nkofo edi oman ho nkomone ade ade. Na Vim lady eti nsem a ekoso nyine no se ma menso kire ma adwene fa ho. Ana Vim lady nso so camera scene so. Eno de pen ne paper to ho. Eno so menso medin nkomode afa Bawumia ho. Se sansem ya wo kikan opeso akire sen sansem we den ka wona abo kan na betimi aka wona wona abo kan den ko kan untimi ngire ne hwe ba vp na ka say you ho ne ne asem no anyway yanku yadim eti Vim lady nsem wo kikan ye no efa eye Bawumia nsem wo akotena simpim so no kika no yankuti emra sisia.
Although you can still see the equity because Bawumia started here no na a lot of Niama or coming in as we running 24 hours. Digitization 24 hours. Passport office ASA where you send this 24 hours. Yeah, wait 24 hours. Those ones you could tell sir, is directed at Bahama. But it's not surprising. This is the style that has been the style between Bawumia and Mahama all the way from 2012, 2016, APC 2020. It has always been on a way incompetent. And Mahama to me, and I say it has always been that. So I'm not surprised about the initial one. No? And they said, yeah, or after open Mahama Ekuti, I say, yeah, 24 hours. So, but then the key thing is a complete breakaway from President Ekuonaba position, which is what the Bawumia can say. Electricity now, more the VAT. Bawumia say, on only vision you be here for. That's a complete departure from the Nanado one. I think that Sanyama way or Kayena, for instance, he spoke about Minerals Bank, Minerals Development Bank, which is something different. It has never been mentioned under President Ekuonaba. Again, that is something that I feel that Bawumia person to show that he's different from Nanado. Because you said, over all these years, accusation back on NDC for Bawumia and so on and so Nanado. When I hear vice president, when I hear chairman of economic management team, there are not mistakes, be your mistake. But you can see it, all these things are Bawumia. Of a sort, I am different. Perhaps Bawumia person did say that no can offer and another a buying only 2 electricity. No, his hand was not in it. Would it any all can hear Papa Potty? On only time a VAT on electricity will be removed. By construction, me how I deduce it is that Bawumia person say VAT no and another are binding out 2 electricity no cross on Bawumia on the day. This is what Bawumia Crawford has been saying from beginning. Say, and you have the Kosovo MPP Abamua headed by another Bawumia and only Yadi, but politically no. Politically, when you say Bawumia cannot come out and say that me abaying Yadi. Because if you look at even Mahama. A lot of the things that went on in Atamil Sabai. At that time, Mahama was vice president and head of economic management team. But Mahama was not aware. I can tell you for a fact. Busa Kokwa, will tell you for a fact that under Atamil's government, there were so many things Mahama didn't know. They did not make him party to it. And the politics now be and I say, but the truth of the matter is, President Ekuonaba so why you vice president sabotage. I mean, the history of Ghana under Rawlings, we saw Anaka when we are but under Rawlings, there was a vice president called Nkensin Aka. He disagreed so vehemently with the president Rawlings at the time, to the extent of Aka. Why not to tell Mahama vice presidential position? And I want to say Bawumia he came out openly to disagree with Rawlings at a time when everybody was scared of Rawlings. And what did he get? According to Anwar Aka, we don't know if it is true, but according to Aka, there were occasions when his disagreement with Rawlings even meant Yamahando and Kakra, ABC and Bona, so I was not in cabinet, but these are reports. Obia when you Kakre Bia, Oko 40 and 40, on him said these are reports that we all heard at the time, yes, but we heard it. Said, I can't say Rawlings and Botasum almost here so shoulder, ABC and Bono. So Bawumia by this is trying to say that Esnome and Esnome Nanado may agree, but politics in Tino, me to me, my bonte because of the kind of politically suicidal, ABC that. Now, even Mahama and Atamos could not openly disagree with him. A lot of the things here, journalists, funny, I didn't need him say. The name of person, even Kokumu team, no, we're fighting Mahama. But some of me go the Kokwa, will come and say some things. But on him said there was a big gap between the Mahama vice president and his team and Atamos and his team. To the extent that no more Mahama and Popo and so that is just to show you what Bawumia was trying to communicate. Then Bawumia said that jobs, national service, clearly again, that is one thing about Bawumia person or the say. So me and I saw a Nanado or see national service a optional says or no optional, which is that a by force or national service. Say university now a Juma and by force or national service. And he says according to his vision, this is how media attract employers. No employers are because approach America and UK school for the school there job first school. And the Jumera for the fat workers for her. But according to Bawumia in the strategy, national service into company be brain person be fan for because when himself be national service anyway. Again, this is something that he says that making national service optional is also to show you say Esnome and Esnon Anado. His team has really worked to the team normal game by him. Make the other part, no, but I think you see, Brofu say the Ghana Yati Diao. Brofu say very juicy policies. Any other so say see Bawumia, you know, it is incumbent on Bawumia team say, persuasive. No man can't Ghana for not to Ghana for a dream. We say yes, indeed, we are here to do the job, and we are here to persuade you. Say we can do the job because Monday they make us me Chelsea. I know, I'm going to be upon the second term, and I know why he before us our problem. No, say so. I'm about a incumbent case over America. Joe Biden, the whole channel are incumbent case. It be yellow. It be never see MPP before. No, so now I was so we double the way to convince Ghana voters or my member because jobs to be anywhere. And some of the things that Bawumia can Galamsey Asemia, Osha 2016 in 2020, Galamsey was a key issue. MPP before lose most of the Galamsey areas. Bawumia say omoba the Galamsey Krabeka TVET no omo certificate. Now what they will do is abandon mines now omotum go there na omo feel say abandon omeje no the ama Galamsey for no regulate into ko TVET ko skills now nyansa and human certificate ka ho now they are no omo the abandoned mines na Galamsey for na omo ye adwuma as a way to regulate them again. This is something that is completely opposite the Ekufuado Aka. Over the years, Ekufuado by again, Bawumia one person or the also say, I am different from Ekufuado. That's what he wants to show. I am different from Ekufuado. That's one of the things that Bawumia wants to show. You can see any team, no. Some that Mahama didn't go for Bawumia Chisa, and I think that is why opposition strong is good. When an opposition is effective, they force you to think. And you can see Aduma Bawumia for say they've been thinking. They've been thinking. Mahama call for now or more a run for their money. And this 2024 elections, it will be good, but it's also going to be based on ideas. Just young voters refuse to listen to these things here mocking. Because a lot of the things about Bawumia can people, I felt like he's talking about a lot of ordinary voters' heads. And so because digitization, I thought baby warma, then he saw kind of baby because he access Bawumia focus on the things that make you unique. Which is the now national service there, or gold for a year, friends, gold for oil, no. And I've now come to understand it kind of a little bit more than usually. Now, party communicators, they were all not explaining it well because according to Bawumia, no, we are gold for oil, as a way to stem city exchange rate, no, because it's an exchange rate. Bawumia had a background on NDC 4 facing. NDC will never stop talking about city exchange rate because on one Bawumia so the city exchange rate will boil this so now because NDC lose 2016 and one of the things NDC lose 2016 is city exchange rate. And the NDC no surprising. I know my NDC for so Bawumia manatete say massa the city has exposed you. And one of the things that Bawumia is saying is in order to ensure say dollar no abroach na for pressure. And to Ghana see the exchange rate to Zuntino. Send ye dollar to crude oil no. Ye gold no ebeto. Now see almost starting to almost yakrano. So far gold or motimi anya 2.79, which is almost $3 billion. You're calling the IMF. I look at conditionalities IMF for the Maye. Meanwhile, not says it can be a more at Ghana just because a conquer for bottom. Again, this is also to show you about Miakas watches our being child. Okay, no frata. Thierry pa. Baby, I didn't call so. Bawumia so what say wa being child no frata. Because if we gold for crude oil, now we can be able to retain dollar. Nanka first one. Again, gold never go to dollar never kebeko. But because here retain gold, we have been able to hold gold reserves. I'll say 26 tons on Bank of Ghana. What did they have to become? Oh, total we have 2.79, which is almost 3 billion here. And he said, and he even emphasizes, say, started gold for oil than Ghana. Your gold reserve, your bewono, a chain on him, Queen Elizabeth. Now no ya wahaya before Queen Elizabeth bewu. Omo gold reserve, British gold reserve. Na chain the whole room. And your room for rooms gold on Ghana a gold coast. Here any gold betting cry. So I fay and more building. Again, I make sure I say, Bawumia person chess or no, I've been chill for that. He's different from Nanado. And to me and fan and that is something a homeworker. That I can't say Bawumia homework back on no. He needs to prove to Ghana for say he's different from Ekuonaba. And yes, sir, Ekuonaba failure to fight corruption. Man, they say me catch him say, a ban of corruption Kwandia, Ekuonaba share them fighting no. Said the Ghana for your pete and go fight corruption no. He hasn't fought it as much as we want him to fight corruption.
According to Vim Lady, not just say Bawumia some more kind on an yagene. Debbie, Nyado and Yagene. Untimint nafa kunkasa wadia to mutira kwasa. But a branch of fellow Katajeff for be defending. Or Katajeff for chichim. No Katajeff for chichimuno, or quite know something which is there. Nin chichimuno, wakwen who say I say a ya be booster be kind of as a seminal or coming can as a mintimin can ye me can see at some so Sano Katachi can as a snow casapans who Tia Asamo Katachi can Besame catch with the one cassette Asamo Katachi or kind.
Yedika young cop Dr. Mamad Bawumia. The arguments I've heard, say Dr. Mamad Bawumia so about Levy. And Levy when you want to now bind the buy and the fire here, young constitution, young constitution, they say there shall be an executive power which shall be vested in the president. And Robi Musa said, "Dear Tina Kufadu ama baby, Dr. Bawumia ye no. E dear Tina Kufadu ama ho. Mumia Musa said, "Dear Tina Kufadu ama ho." If said Dr. Bawumia ye na chidini, na wo call launching the campaign. Dr. President Kufadu must be there.
Exactly.
Why was he not there?
Precisely.
Is he angry? Nebu afuana. Nebu na afuni ye dia. Then the argument people advances that, and Dr. Bawumia said, when you Ekuonaba nyadwin wo Levy one, na esen ko resign dada. But what kind of logic is this? When you are part of a government, now when the government ne nyadwin, now we are going to say you go head to head with the government. When everybody knows what government means, abain, we are said, na abain timi nyano so best some be ma bo ba, no asa oba ko be ma ne krom timi ye. And government is so powerful, say Dr. Bawumia ye na dwene so be resign wa go head to head with government come back crash no.
Exactly.
We know they will come at him with every arsenal and they would have made sure say he won't win and yet the MPP flag bearership. And then he has tactically won the MPP flag bearership. Ekuonaba will have no control over him.
Exactly.
And he says that I have a mind of my own. We are not discussing whether or not you walk but that logic say is it not a known fact that Dr. Bawumia stated publicly say no Levy unyaya and compreso also he doesn't believe that they must be taxed. Nasa wakokacha Ekuonaba say Mr. President Levy I am a friend. I am the one that has been given executive power and I have the control over. He can only go and sit down. Yanti Kroma nebeye known fact say under the mills. Now kwaku anyu do humuni buoma jomama. Is it not a known fact?
Exactly.
From the corridors of power we heard it. Adana jomama resign. Because to media ye wisdom a tact. Me say agrofo na say when combative bione say because I realize that when you go head to head with government too much, they have the resources.
Exactly.
They have the media. They have the people. They will crush you. So sometimes you must shrewdly. The key word here is shrewdly. Shrewdly approach power. So you will live with them. You don't agree with some of the things they do. But it's not all the time that you become combative. And then Dr. Bawumia to me as the flag bearer of the NPP. And now he's saying that one the idea about what he thinks government should be and governance should be. Mommy analyze it, your work on about this argument is abine nyadwin esen ko resign. Now your mama resign the President Mills. President Mills who ye the first time at Joma Manya the podium. Was say I have directed that, I have instructed that, I have directed that, I have the President Mills who the Mama Megas I have directed that, I have instructed that, I directed because the executive power was not resting on him.
Exactly.
On let me say,
Sir.
the executive power. Ekuonaba near man executive power. And Ekuonaba memo kankan. Na we no me say yana me blaming Crawford.
Sir, pepe.
Na your mama do obey nyina yakai. Except that Ekuonaba buy wa huru ni fita.
Sir.
Say corruption e dey board your mama. And Ekuonaba dey na buy corruption anu odin. Eti na huru your mama de no. So he becomes a lesser of the two evils.
Exactly.
Is it true, Sir Dr. Muhammad, about me obet me a ye Levy? That is a conversation we must have. Obi be promises say me ba es gracia make him. Is it true so bet me es gracia? That is a conversation we must have.
Exactly.
But this conversation about Swani buying and Yagin as a resign for me.
It's a no.
No. Ananya watem di na udie na bema meja de meka no wo watem di ensesare
Gina internet so emba baby
na we kura wo mo woni akukuduro we di atama woni akukuduro Dr. Muhammad Bawumia you the flag bearer was wo ba Levy obetwam
Sir, pepe.
obetwam
ono so akire na adwen di
wo kire yese Levy no wo mpe ye nyina ya we Emma make catch them say do baby can ofori ata na na vice president. Ekuonaba won't hear. Ekuonaba won't asem. Enra de ntia wa ma ayina say saa nneoma ya wo mutworo say mu say ye kwa 11 no ye na onya adwe betwam. Ye wo hwede at the mama you going to say this in public? Are you going to say this in public? Are you enu wa ma ho no. De ntia wa ma ho no. And Bawumia want to begin to show that he is a clear man of his own.
Exactly.
Yatukroma na 2000, ye kachere man for say. Professor Mills ba obeye a puppet of a JJ Rollins.
Sir.
Na Professor Mills obeye a puppet of JJ Rollins. John Mahama kura na JJ Rollins ne so ne nsa e de ne ba politics him. When you to me, JJ Rollins was nowhere. Exactly. He was not listening to him.
Freedom.
And for you to think that Wobakura wa no general here ne wone na ha na nim so ofiamoy watching a general benye to me me to be in control no
Exactly.
na nya Kufuor na ma Ekufuor attorney general enya Kufuor na ma Ekufuor minister of foreign affairs and then what can say wontie eti omu say we mirakisia yakwa wonu de NDC strong power me ne woka say wo fremu tu so say ka de je ade okay sa mirakisia yakwa me chiawo asante aguna kigiriki me chiawo ensesa we will analyze now say ampani ampa say the logic is that my consider Dr. Muhammad Bawumia because one the boss by and the boss a failure 2012 obianim say President Mills a co-election and ko belusu
Exactly.
amamwo fu President Mills bebuye
Freedom.
na nipa de wo yan kana kira asem
Precisely.
wo munyina no munim say President Mills ye ne ko 2012 election and ko belusu
Sir, pepe.
etina do no akura gidi say ayi ye utimi say nkrofo bi ye say ni say anema ekoye say enye sa
Sir, pepe.
enye sa
Sir, pepe.
but President Mahama bai regardless of the failure of the boss and oba be ye bi wonu amu ye mane be ye bi and wonu aba be ye bi no so ankosi aga media kamenya ye pa ko mienu nyina no ye mpe bola bi na mom se ye pese select ba ko pa de ye man second in command na ankosi aga ni man first in command ankosi aga and the man second in command na ankosi aga ni nya man first in command. It is the people to decide.
Sir, pepe.
Na Ekuonaba na aye
Sir.
Ekuonaba na aye
Why be you?
agoya ntrika krakai why bi pa won ti asem me sintire no awa ma ho no enra ne bu afu se ya se tam abakwe wadwa Ekuonaba wadwa sa because Bawumia want to establish that he is a man of his own and it's a fact. Na ba de to me am obi na Now so we a mistake say a year or two ago or you not just I will come out now I will say when I become president I'm going to win a flag bearership. Go win it. Aguvado. Already 1 2 he doesn't joke with disloyalty.
Exactly.
The entire one ministers yatina home fear bebreno is because the ministers are loyal to him. Whether they are performing or they are not performing, he understands how to hold power. He does not understand how to use the power, but he understands. Say when you to me, said you see kuramuni. Ya dem krofo wa mo ajiwudie. Say Kofi Kwaku says watching be say be say Kufadwa. Kofi Kwaku tuwe wonim finance ho hwe. Esu say me to me na mpesa me bo ho ban party am de Kofi Kwaku beto eye ekrobodu say style no. Aye. Krobodu say anko school. But we know you're one of the best ministers President Nkrumah have.
Exactly.
And Kofi Kwaku say wa anko school. But I dream what Bob and Pesem hold it to me. I will give him power. On MJ. Analyze it. And me, Dr. Bawumia has been smart. If indeed Ekuonaba one in Nyagwene and you may be home and I yet keep you quiet. Not one go head to header. That means he's been smart there. Now it's up to us to analyze the things that MPP and NDC are saying. And your man now one more canon. 24 way chumberi mebe we said we see aka na no adu enkosi hwe me madwene ni enkosi hwe some tennis wani wa hunu bibi abeka bibi analyze the issues on them je ya analyze the issue no 11 no betimi atwam ontimi ntwam. These are the conversations we must have. And this election that year kono omumu bia de bibia to wa we must critically analyze it. Critically.
So Katachi and Kono Street too. Also one corner a set by force, sir. The Marquese, Bawumia Semua or Cano or Fuaso on Fuaso. Just any Aquese or Fuaso on Fuaso. Because ultimately your board can see and see. But in Chile more the Abano. Minim say a tier for a hermano and so do almost Chile Mubeba. According to a year or Katachi free fire, say. Nese Bawumia crown and someone walk on. Say Levy no bit me ye free one. Obit me name now on so near banner won't mean 24. And I say no castle 24 moon fana. Or I say I know questions and answers be in some no catachebe abepo a dear go has some posar. Minim say tea for tea and so a wagon children by a wise me.
Mpenefo se bibiro wi asenti ne da ne atopno na ne pabone fonti e wo se wo bambo hu hia na ne papa mu de Pro Technologies ana me kan fama wo ane Pro Technologies. We are specialized in both sales and installation of CCTV cameras. Yeton esa install CCTV cameras in the South Ghana and NASA brochure now fear Ghana. Now beso CCTV camera installation. We need Pro Technologies and in South. We get CCTV camera installation, electric fence, automated gate, access control, video doorbell, and our intercom, and our satellite TV, home theater, so upebiato, and our water, and our pesebe install them out. Pro Technologies and our software. Na shenenso. Say fidie nyina from America brochime and this and papa na padia man nwene ho na ne bo anso da form make sure you know the web brochime mu ha any branch e wo Ghana ye ni mo bra wo bre into sika fire nsem se fanya japade ma wo Ghana wo da na ne tenese ye say general construction so web brochire na peso si fi o Ghana e dan plan bi o peso si se wa sha se dada ana afi na peso si plan bia ye besi ama eno echi so here solar power ana bamba ho nsensem bi ade woni ye ni nsawo so ne esanso ye smart home abefo video bi apese hye e wo fie ana watwuma mo de ma wo woni ye ni nsawo so we are just a call away ne esanso wadan de ma han ana ofre brochire bedu Ghana na wo pe full house room ana apartment ahan for short term ana long term ye be ma obiane border form na bamba ho nsem de manwene ho enna ye interior decoration so wasi fie na wie ana yesu fie na ma no yes sign decoration ye besiesie odi ana office o e dia ma no edi so to mfidie bi na wo hokwa fa so install ana ne settings ye beye e dia ma e wo Ghana wo behu yen wo mira ofra denta e di wani a che dodoa wo behu ye e wo ahie ye ne Emalin pharmacy e na wo the same building. For information or WhatsApp 401-7570-300 and a +401-6992-254. Pro Technologies. We have the solutions for your security and home entertainment needs at affordable prices.